Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Pekin Freeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship here at Virginia International Raceway. I'm Austin Knight. I'm joined by Alessandro Dalladane with Marco Barbonari in the production booth, and you're here watching Apex Racing TV.
What a beautiful racetrack, Virginia International Raceway. One of the tracks we don't see very often in the racing calendars, Austin, but I think we are set to have a very interesting race, as we always have this season, because week in and week out, all these drivers have always provided great racing everywhere we've been to.
Seriously, this track is so fun to drive around. It's a track I've driven and tested at in multiple cars in real life. I've tested here in a Formula 4 car here. They have their preseason test here. They have races here. USF 2000, they came here. A GT4 team wanted me to test a McLaren here. That was a dumb idea, but they let me try it. And I can tell you all about going off the track in the final 2 corners.
Also in real life, you go off the track, not only on iRacing then.
Oh, I'm worse in real life.
Oh. Well, that's a revelation, so make sure when you are on the highway to stay away from Austin.
I'll be the one driving the 99 Camry.
You go places then.
Yeah, if you're going up to the 8500, I am taking a road trip. Watch out.
Okay, so be careful around that time of the year. Be sure not to be around Indianapolis. But here we are at Virginia International Raceway, looking at Ben Fuller, our number 1 also tonight with more than 7,000 rating. I think he moved up to 7K this week, Austin, because I recall not having 7,000K, that's 7K, sorry. I get still sometimes wrong with that, even after 6 years of iRacing. 7K last week.
Yeah, Ben Fuller's been on a grind as he's a new #1 car. This track has been very challenging for this as we got a slide for Joshua Stewart. And that's the dangers of a 47 degrees Celsius track here. Just a little bit wide and unfortunate. unfortunate back end gets out, and as we say here, too much mustard. But really, this track is pretty bumpy, so it's very hard to keep the power down. You can see the bump that Paul Ilbert just went on the apex of, well, the after apex and the run up towards turn 2 here. So we're looking at Phil Reed coming up to Oak Hill Tree, and a lot of drivers were getting hard to get 2 splits here. We weren't really looking forward to having a high SOF. It's a 4.4K SOF, so it's a still high SOF here for the Formula 3.5 series on a track that not a lot of drivers were agreeing was a smart choice.
I think the drivers will give us their opinion then at the end of the race. Once we see how is the race around here, draft is gonna be very important on the backstretch, but at the same time that interesting first sector with all those fast corners might get some distance between drivers. It's gonna be very interesting because this is a track we don't really see much open wheel racing on, so it's gonna be for sure quite a fun thing to watch.
It certainly is a high-powered, open-wheel, deficient track. But in the lower series, it's very fun to watch races here. I highly suggest you go on to the Formula Regional Americas or Formula 4 U.S. Championship and go watch those races on there. As Marco and I, we've seen the eSport version of this and the real-life version of cars racing around here. It's very fun. This track is known as the Nürburgring of Americas. That's an off track for Jason Enrique. And as he actually gets a curled black flag right there and removed for qualifying. As, I think Marco has spotted the livery of Adam Kahn. Can we get a zoomed in image of this? Well, if you're a Leyden House fan, there's your livery. That is a very classic livery, one that you don't see a lot.
But Austin, come on, he also has a violet helmet, so you know that he's our race favorite.
Oh, this guy is dedicated to it. But I believe it's the first time we've seen Ryan this season, as Erica Lindstrom in that 11's coming down roller coaster and into Pigpen. This is where if you lock up the brakes just a little bit, if you get the braking wrong, you will be shooting straight past and into the grass, also just known as mud pit, especially if it comes after a rain. As Ever Samborski goes into pit lane after securing 4th place. And, Jakob Obslack getting a little bit wild in NASCAR. Tolman livery, not Leighton Hayes. Okay. Thank you, Marco.
This is a different...
Oh, no, we got it. Marco, why do you keep saying words? Why do you keep saying words? You confuse me.
This is a proud Italian sponsor. If you are into cycling, we will also record sponsoring one of the big teams right now. Very beautiful liveries overall also tonight, with different names. Austin joining us tonight, drivers that we haven't seen much this season or even new to the broadcast race, so really looking forward to see how these new boys settle in such a high strength of field race.
And I also know that some of the series hard chargers are not here. I know Robert Tarleton, he's not here, and James Pinsker is in our chat.
How dare you? Common Racing, come on.
But qualifying is over. Ben Fuller is starting up on pole, followed by Phil Reed. Phil Reed's on a controller. So he just started 18 other cars. Starting behind him is Simon Thomas, Everett Samborski, Andreas Perez-Leith, Theodore Burns, Josh Stewart, Benjamin Barreto, Paul Ilbert, Tom Wedgwood, Erica Lindstrom, and Cedric Finsack in 12th place. Behind them in 13th, it's Dennis Corno, Dennis Ferruccium, Jacob Orslak, Adam Kahn, John Owens, Simon Ayton, and Jason Henrique at the end of this 19-car grid as they're all lined up here at VIR.
If I were Dennis, I would require you to learn some German after this butchering of his name. Poor Dennis. I'm sorry for Austin butchering your name. He will get some German teaching soon.
After my Portuguese teaching, any other language and English teaching. Italian, I'm getting better because Marco's teaching me. And yeah. But yeah, I really need to look at the Rosetta Stone here and there.
Yeah, absolutely right. I think after Hockey Ring, definitely that was the top of the iron.
That wasn't. I knew how to say it. I just can't speak. Okay, no, I'm digging myself a hole.
Jason Enrique is only the driver missing from the grid, and lights are coming here.
5 red lights are on. It's a curved start. It's a curved straight, so it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes. So just go, go, go here at VIR. Fuller gets a good start, followed by Reed. Look at Simon in third place, getting a good run, followed by Edward Samborski. Now watch out for turn 1. We see some praises. We got to lock him down the inside. And then number 4 going wide. Samborski's off into the grass.
Oh boy, that's not how you want to start the race. Samborski trying to stay out of the way and maybe sliding back into last place. So let's see where he can come back during these 20 laps, and we have a corner around.
Off in NASCAR as Fuller, followed by Reed. Both these two drivers very well doing well for themselves, and everybody else is trying to survive. Andreas Ferraz-Lite up 2 spots, and Paul Ilbrink is up 3.
Leaders already trying to open a gap on Ferraz-Lite as Stewart goes wide. Oh, they need to be very, very careful here.
Yeah, coming up at Oak Tree Bend, everyone's going to be going wide for the better entry onto this back straight. And now you can just let this car run on its own. But then it comes the hardest braking zone, I gotta say, in the world. A DRS already being used by Josh Stewart to make up for that mistake. But Barreto down the inside of the track. Yes, I said inside. It's now going to be the outside, but then turn into the inside. You have to brake. We already see a lockup right there going into roller coaster. And surprisingly, not seeing a car run off in grass. That is a very common place to lock up, as they have to dip on the brakes a little bit as they head into Pigpen, and down the front straight they go. And that's a lap of VIR as Fuller and Reed leaving the field behind them. But turn 1, it definitely was tricky to go. You have that bump on the exit, and you do not want to hit the throttle going over that.
Absolutely, and it's even more remarkable. Oh, we have some trouble here for Tom Wedgwood.
Wedgwood, new car. New car, decided he wasn't happy with his old team, so he's left them, and well, he being Tom Wedgwood, and Tom Wedgwood, there's that bump I was talking about. Tom Wedgwood being Tom Wedgwood, he had his girlfriend make that beautiful livery for him.
Absolutely, it's a beautiful shiny livery. We definitely really like it, that we are on board with Simon Tamas, trying to make his way through Andres Ferraz-Lite. He's a very, very fast German driver, profiting from some absentees today, trying to make another podium.
Simon Thomas in the draft, going on to the outside line. It's a very interesting decision. There's going to be a fight in the braking zone. Very late braking by Ferraz-Lite, and he made it work.
Absolutely great racing between these two drivers. Ferraz-Lite, that unfortunately I think was the one starting a bit of chaos in the opening lap, where Samborski had to go on the grass and lose a lot of positions. But
speaking of lap 1, Ferraz-Lite, well, Ferraz-Lite is off, but he managed to keep the car pointed forward and get back onto the track. After locking up his brakes, he wanted into turn 1 and being kind of the catalyst of that incident. I know some drivers are blaming him for that one. He was the one that was locking up and did have a little bit of contact with some people, as Henrique and Samborski are, I think Justin Henrique is having some internet things as our timing tower is doing the samba over there in 14th and 15th.
Yeah, indeed, it might have been the reason why he couldn't set a valid lap time in qualifying.
Well, he couldn't set a lap time in qualifying because he cut the track and got black flag for it. Because this is on strict qualifying, so if you go off like Henrique is off right now, you will get black flagged in qualifying, and he drops down to 15th. So Edward Samborski now officially in 14th. As here comes Simon Thomas once more, and Perez Lite using both these drivers using VRs very early as it's a drag race heading into roller coaster. Thomas trying to hold it around the outside. Perez Lite getting held up and around the outside. Simon Thomas. What a move.
What a move, absolutely. It was absolutely great. And I think both drivers trying to use DRS to open up a gap and try to pull away immediately, because this track is very hot today, so that might come into play towards the end as Paul Hilden looks the inside of...
Lite with a big lockup, and Paul Hilden's going to get 2 spots as Simon Thomas is off there.
Oh boy, what is happening today here at the VIR roasting?
47 Celsius track temp, a bump on the exit. I can just really say the bump on the exit. This track is mainly a sports car racing track, but this is what happened to Simon Thomas. He just went in too deep. Perez Lite locked up like he did on lap 1, and the rest of them just got to take it easy when you go around here. This is the Nürburgring of America, as some do call it. And speaking of that start, here is on board of Edward Samborski looking back at Perez Lite. He's on the left-hand side of the screen. You see him dive up there, and Samborski just kind of takes a wider line, dips his wheel into the grass, and that's how he ended up into 13th place right now.
Profiting from some driver's mistake, he made a few positions. If you look at the timing tower, the gap between him and the 7th position is very, very small, about 3 seconds, but he has to make a lot of passes to move up the standings, as we see a pass in the background. And still great fights between Simon and Finsack. Simon making up from the mistake earlier. Oh, I think we have a trouble for Phil Reed.
Phil Reed, he's off. He went off in Pigpen, and he's going slow down the straight, just trying to get back up to speed. But yeah, that's what happens. I'm expecting a little bit of a blip going through Pigpen, which is right now. No, just turning, not responsive, and those tires just don't go. Too much mustard through there. It's such a deceptive corner too.
Yeah, but Austin, it's difficult with a wheel. Imagine with a pad.
Oh my goodness.
Might be to control such a very difficult car in such a hot condition in one of the most difficult tracks on the service. That's absolutely remarkable.
And Wedgwood's around. Wedgwood, yeah, Wedgwood and Kahn having an incident, and Wedgwood is missing his engine cover. Tom Wedgwood, big incident right there, contact, and well, he's driving a Formula car without the engine cover. I think he might have had a impact. Oh, he's just lost on his own, and then he got netcode hit right there.
Yeah, indeed, that was Adam Kohn involved in the tap, so he might have some slight damage at his front wing. Both drivers right at the tail end of the field. As we look at John Owens in 15th place in this 3-car train with Kohn and Adam Kohn, who seems to be okay.
Yeah, Kohn seems to be fine, just got an off track right there, as he is just sitting as, oh my goodness, Owens and Kahn nose to tail with each other, as Dennis Cornu is leading out this 3-car train in the battle for 15th. Ben Fuller has pulled out a 7-second gap to everybody. He's left this field like Paddle Award did at Barber. Just hopefully he doesn't have a 3-stop strategy.
Yeah, but what was even more remarkable was Phil Reed keeping up with Ben Fuller. 1 second as we have...
Oh, that's a risky move down NASCAR. That is a risky move. by Lindstrom to try to peek the inside at NASCAR.
You see how everyone is very, very close still after 6 laps. Drivers tend to make up a few positions. Phil Reed on Benjamin Barato. He will try to most likely go for it at the end of the backstretch. Oh, spoke too soon.
Off in Oak Tree and into the wall goes Phil Reed.
I think the car is having some damage, or maybe was just trying to go back onto the tarmac, but really, really unfortunate as Theodore Burns makes a pass on Paul Hilbring, who just lets him go without risking to go side by side through this very, very difficult downhill section.
And there's contact. Sam Borski sent it in on Ferrazete, giving him a little bit of a taste for his own.
Thomas is around.
Did he go off in a roller coaster?
Let's see. He was
There
pointing in the wrong
Josh
direction.
Stewart ahead of him. And oversteer, and then a snap cutback. It was an odd place to see a car, so originally I had no idea how that happened, but now that I've seen that happen, it makes sense. But Paul Hilbring back up in second.
Very eventful race so far. Paul Hilbring looking at the inside of Theodore Burns, and Burns doesn't really put too much of a fight, trying to go side by side through this section.
He's running that curb.
Paul Hilbring making up a spot. Very good job by Paul. He started in 9th place, which is very unusual, and making up very good spots now, although he's more than 8 seconds behind our race leader.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful, and Hilbring in that number 3. Number we usually do not see him compared to previous seasons. As we go back live, still defending from Theodore Burns. We got a battle for 7th place between Phil Reed on the outside, and he's going to let Dennis down to the inside, and I'm going to let Alessandro say his last name.
Dennis Furkheim.
All right, I can't do that with my tongue, so you're going to...
With some practice, you will manage to say it. Don't worry. Phil Reed is trying to make a pass now around the outside, trying to go the long way around the German driver.
Oh, he's being squeezed though on entry, trying to make a back off a break earlier, but Phil Reed not backing down, but unfortunately gets into the grass. And we've seen this so many times at the Nürburgring this week, and if any of you are watching the Top Split live stream of unfortunate GT4 that had to do about a 20-point turn while staying on track at a very tight section of the ring, Sam Borski very lucky to avoid that incident.
Yes, Samborski now up in 8th position after being last after the first few corners. But look at this gap, lap time comparison between Fuller and Paul Hilbring. Gaps very, very, very wide. As we have a replay with Dennis Corn, the French driver. It's the curb, keeps the outside curb, and I have no idea what happened now. Slight touch. Oh boy!
Ow.
The halo here would come really in handy.
Okay, I know in Suzuka we made the joke that the halo was needed. This is the second time that I say, hey, we need the halo in these cars. These poor virtual drivers' heads. You just see them bobbing around all innocently. And I say that, they actually disabled the bobbing. iRacing, I'm trying to make a joke here. Come on, work with me.
Time to get the concussion protocol started today here at Virginia.
Something I'm way too familiar with, as Burns is very loose on the inside, but Hilbring trying to hold it around to the outside. We got a drag race here coming into NASCAR, and Theodore Burns and Benjamin Barato take it to Paul Hilbring, who is not having an easy race for himself today, but he's carrying himself. He's up 7 spots.
Absolutely. Paul doing a great comeback race. but I still want to. Paul maybe making a very slight mistake here. Burns closing the gap. But as every week we remind you, DRS is gonna play a very big part toward the end of the race. Maybe today Austin a bit less since
You just enable it right now.
yeah, and the tire wear is gonna be even more of an issue since the track is extremely hot.
Yeah, this track is, well, honestly, it's about as hot as a slow roasting grill. And you know, Virginia, they have some pretty okay brisket there, but it's nothing like Texan brisket or North Carolina brisket. But you know, it's all right. So actually, the funny thing is, it's on the border, so you just go a little bit south and boom, you're in North Carolina to try out some of that southern brisket.
That's definitely not a biased opinion since...
No, because I'm Texan.
yeah, indeed. As we are almost halfway through, already 9 laps in, we are on the 10th lap. 16 minutes into the race, and we lost so far only 2 drivers. Unfortunately, Cornu is still recovering from the pirouette, and Simon Thomas had enough after making a few mistakes early on. Unfortunately for him, race is over after a very strong week in the previous outings here in the broadcast race. I think we have some trouble for Tom Wedgwood. He just moved back to the pits, as we have also another car spinning at the hairpin. Let's catch the mistake by Tom Wedgwood. Oh, he's just standing now.
No, he's just let them by.
And here's Stewart.
I feel like he might have had a meatball as Stewart had a wiggle and Oak Tree hard into the wall. But those tires, you know, this Formula 3.5 car is a little bit stronger than more of the other open wheelers. Formula Renault 2.0 can get some strength tips from there. But remember, they are still not on the new damage model.
I think Paul Hilbring definitely remembers that back to Monza last season, where he hit the wall and got away incredibly luckily with that. And here we look at Finn Sack in 5th place.
Look who's behind him.
Yeah, he's
Sam
really
Borski.
under pressure, because look at the gap.
Sam Borski has been closing in half a second a lap. But Edward Samborski, comeback of the century right here. He was down in, well, pretty much last, coming out of turn 1, lap 1, and he's back up there in 6th place. He's going to go for a top 5 here very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. He definitely has the speed. He will be definitely mad because he could have had a much easier race for sure without that lap 1 incident. But you know, Eddie always comes back even stronger, and I'm sure he will try to make a move here around the outside. Probably, I think if I was Finn Sack, I wouldn't give it the chance to take the outside in the left-hander coming to the brake.
Samborski has got the run down the inside and early braking from Fidzak. Samborski back into the top 5, and Edward Samborski this week has been, well, for the past few weeks, he's been talking to members of the community, and he's got a proposal, well, actually 2 proposals for the new schedule for next season. And on there, there's he's taken into consideration with this track's participation a few of other stuff, and he's very committed on making this a very fun series to race in at interesting tracks. And week 3, if the Red Bull Ring is not in the next update, we might be heading to Homestead. But he is asking the community on to think about the Homestead Miami Road Course B layout and this car. It's heavily pressured by me, so I'm heavily biased on going for this. But, you know, when you FIA single-seater series race there, it is such a fantastic track, and I say it would be fun in the F3.5 car.
Absolutely, always beautiful to see.
and you can just watch race in pure darkness. And off in the track, that's Paul Ilbrich off. Ilbrich's off in the wall, and oh, he is buried in the wall.
That's a race over for Paul. He might have to get his leg checked after this incident too.
Oh, that is a massive hit for Paul Ilbrich heading into Oak Tree. Just too much speed going into there, and oh
boy.
That is a heavy hit. Looks like the Lewis Hamilton hit at the Nürburgring where he took at the Schumacher S's. As this is tight for Henrique and Stewart. Henrique and Stewart, both of them locking up right there. As Stewart's going to drop back from Jason Henrique. I feel like he just wants to keep himself a little bit straight.
Let's have a replay from Benjamin Barato, the French driver in the 11 car, in the slipstream of Theodore Burns, and making the move for second place. An amazing race, very consistent so far from Barato, looking to get his first podium in the Formula Renault 3.5 broadcast race, as I'm aware of. It should be the first podium for him. It's fairly new to the series, but looking very, very strong week in and week out.
It will be. This race pretty much can be considered to a minefield with the hot track and then the difficult track for this car. So Theodore Burns and Barato fighting out for second here as, well, like the Imola race in real life in Formula 1, where they were battling out for second place, but neither of these cars are Mercedes. As Burns using that DRS goes up to the outside line. We're side by side, well, going into the break zone. Theodore Burns back up into second place.
Yeah, absolutely great racing between these drivers. They need to be careful though, because yes, we have still 7 laps left, but the gap between them and Samborski is only 5 seconds, 4.5 seconds. So if they keep fighting, Samborski might have still a chance for a podium. Don't count him out.
Oh, indeed. Pretty much, I believe everybody on the track right now who is being consistent definitely has a chance for the podium. I don't know about the win because Ben Fuller is pretty much a robot. But Sam Borski sitting in 4th place. All he just needs is one of these drivers to have a little bit of mistake. And he is certainly faster than them. He's already gained almost 2/10 in the first sector here.
Absolutely, I'm really eager to see how this race will finish. So far, definitely not the biggest field of the season and not the highest ref of the season, but we had plenty of great racing and drama. So Virginia definitely living up to its expectations. And remember that if you want to get involved in the Formula Renault 3.5 community or in racing in general, you can always have a look at a few of our sponsors, like Apex Racing Academy with 29 data packs, and mostly also we have an offer in the meantime for Jakub Obrusdak. Apex Racing Academy 29 data pack setups also for the Renault 3.5 if you want to get started with World Championship drivers working on their setups week in and week out, weekly group coaching session, track guides, and anything you may need. So make sure to give it a look at apexracingac.com, and also it's integrated with another sponsor, Virtual Racing School, with 50 data packs also for road, oval, dirt, anything you may need, data analysis software. So everything set on one single page, very easy to access. So make sure.
And if you want examples of drivers who use Apex Racing Academy, Edward Samborski, you came second in the championship last time by. Currently, I would say the second fastest driver on track right now. He uses Apex Racing Academy, and he just makes some little adjustments to the setup to fit his driving style. But the setups from there, absolutely on top of the driving coach that he gets, absolutely worth the subscription he's paying for it. And these are not my words; these are his, and I'm not being paid to even say this.
Yeah, absolutely. You can use them as a baseline or use them straight out of the box like we do usually, and show up on the track and possibly not crash as I do or Austin does.
I didn't crash here.
Yeah, we used to suggest to practice a bit, unlike...
Yes, practice is required in pretty much all these series. Especially if you're looking into competing with the big boys. You can't really show up and do good like Alessandro over here.
There's a reason why I keep being in the car, you know. As Theodore Burson and Benjamin Barato are still fighting with each other, Samborski closed the gap another 1/8 of a second. So... 8,000th. It's time for Samborski on this group. Oh, we are another off.
Oh, Stewart. Second time off today.
Let's see what happened. So almost...
The bump. Yep, hit the bump. Felt the car going, locked up. And unfortunately, Josh Stewart off the track. And the DFR guys, well, they aren't all together in this race today. I was talking with them throughout the weekend. They were all confused about this track.
Yeah, it's a very difficult track overall, and especially with these very hot conditions, it's even worse. Plenty of drivers having a lot of trouble to keep the track within the white lines and avoiding these big offs. The car's definitely not helping at all with no tarmac escape routes around here, which is so great, as we have the pass for the 10th position, and also Turkheim in 5th place, losing a spot on Finsack. I think he went off because he suddenly
I see the tire lines there, so he might have been. He's behind well, this is Phil Reed, Josh Stewart, not Dennis. As there's the lockup heading into roller coaster, and yep, you're exactly right. Went across the grass right there.
It's a minor mistake, as I feel like Owens also had an off, same place.
This is not a replay. This is another car doing it.
Yeah,
it's so easy to do.
Absolutely, and unfortunately the gardeners here and the keepers of VIR won't be happy about all the mowing the drivers are doing today. Gonna have a longer day ahead on Monday. As Barato is still right near the rear wing of Theodore Burns. Both drivers up 4 and 5 places, so definitely doing a very good race. But with only 3 laps left, is it worth, in your opinion, Austin, to really push really hard now and lose some more time, giving the chance to Samborski to come back and get them maybe both?
It's just... I don't say it's worth it or not. Since this is a race of attrition, the more you push, the more you're risking yourself making a mistake. And at this later in the race, all you got to do is survive. And, you know, you got a good gap on Samborski behind you, 2 seconds. Ed's not known to make mistakes, so when he gets on your tail, you're going to have to do a little bit of defending. But you've been behind Theodore Burns the entire time, and something could happen in front of you, and then you and Ed could be in second and third. So I would say just go with it and see what happens.
Yeah, but
then again, I have 1500 I rating and I just crashed a car by disconnecting the brakes. So don't take all of my words for it.
And you know, yeah, you have problems sometimes, Austin.
Yes.
But yeah, it's the beauty of iRacing. You just reset and come back 2 hours later and you don't have to pay anything.
Or, and if you take a tire in the face, you don't have to spend a week in the hospital.
Yeah, indeed.
I say that's the best one. I feel like that's the best part.
Indeed. That doesn't allow you to murder people intentionally.
No, you have experience with that.
Oh yeah, I do. plenty. As we have these drivers still fighting for 10th place, Lindstrom and Stewart. Stewart trying to get back into the top 10. 2 laps to go. Lindstrom has not much to do rather than let Josh Stewart by, who's looking to make a pass on Reed.
Oh, no. Oh, that was... How are they still on the track after that? It was so tight through there. But Josh Stewart, I can tell he's over the moon with that pass. Down the inside, Phil Reed. Oh, I don't believe Phil's going to be happy about that.
Oh yeah, that was a proper bump and run, a NASCAR style.
Yeah, Phil looking down the inside. I think Josh is going to be letting him back. And, oh no, they made contact!
Oh, this is a proper NASCAR racing. Phil Reed, don't know if it was intentional, but definitely very, very interesting maneuver.
Definitely definitely was not intentional, but the radio chatter was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, indeed. Drivers not being really, really friendly and yeah,
almost a Renus VK level of hilarity if you were watching the IndyCar qualifying.
Indeed, definitely. Radio chats are always very beautiful to hear. Sometimes here in the broadcast booth we always have a laugh because drivers can get quite interesting on the radio.
Indeed, and you know, everyone gets very heated as P2 is coming down to the wire, but Burns is just going to be letting him by, so he just let us know on the radio right there that he's not going to be fighting Barreto. So Barreto is going to finish. Oh, wait, white flag's in the air. It's not the last lap. I'm not smart. I've passed math, I swear. And Theodore Burns.
Anyway, don't worry.
Today's been weird.
You're feeling the hot weather here at VIR.
Today's been weird. But Theodore Burns on the back of Barreto. Last lap in the air. White flag.
With half a second lead. We have a DRS spare to defend from Theodore Burns. We will see in just a few seconds. Fast left-hander down the hill to use a very, very treacherous corner. Very important to get a good exit. Also, teammate of Barato Finsak is defending from Jason Enrique, the fifth. The two French drivers will be able to maintain their position at the end of the backstretch. But here is our race leader. I'm sorry, Ben, but not much to show today from you.
Well, you can show pretty much the fast lap. The race starting up on pole and leading every lap. As I gotta say, it's a grand slam for Ben Fuller as Burns makes the last lap dive up the inside and up into second place. As they head through Pigpen, and Theodore Burns is going to take DFR onto the podium, as well as Benjamin Barreto on his first podium in the Formula 3.5 Series. The last lap, Erica Lindstrom goes wide. Phil Reed down the inside for 9th place. Edward Samborski comes home in 4th from a great recovery drive. Lindstrom still trying to get back on track. Oh, he's super heated to those rear tires, so he's got no grip back there. And it's Orbslack in 10th. Khan going to finish in 11th.
Here is Stewart coming home in 13th place, unfortunately, after the contact. Definitely drivers not happy with each other after that incident, but I'm sure they will work it out post-race, as also Owens is the last driver now to cross the finish line in 15th place. So we only lost 4 drivers during this race, as we have this beautiful slide parking the car perfectly on the grass. John
That's
Owens.
pretty much where you want to park it right there. Just
Good,
get out.
clear fun. It's what people want, I agree.
Absolutely.
And that was definitely very fun today.
You know, it was a absolute fantastic race. Ben Fuller, robot, there wasn't really any question about that. We will try to get the replay for P2. Theodore Burns to overtake a Berto on the last lap. They're followed by Edward Samborski, Jason Enrique, Cedric Fisnak, Danik. Alessandro?
Oh, yeah. You should try them next time, though. Furkheim.
Thank you. Andres Perez-Lite, Phil Reed, Jason Orbslack, Adam Kahn, Eric Lindstrom, Josh Stewart, Simon Aiton, John Owens, Paul Ilbrick, Tom Wedgwood, Dennis Kerner, and Simon Thomas.
Very.
The 19-car grid. And speaking of robots, we are joined by our resident robot, Ben Fuller. But before that, let's take a replay of this fight for P2. Burns buried in the draft, DRS wide open, and just sends it in there to roller coaster to get his spot onto the podium for DFR. But standing on the top step of the podium, ladies and gentlemen, Ben Fuller with another Grand Slam.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Bit of a mixed day, you know. Really struggled to get any laps in this week, so just came in very underprepared. It's good to get the win, but felt like the pace was pretty bad and made a lot of minor mistakes that I'm pretty unhappy with today. I was just very fortunate that I didn't have anybody battling behind, you know. I didn't see what happened to Tomas, but I know Paul, Phil, and Edward all made mistakes today, so you know, a bit of a mixed day. I crashed out of the race earlier today, so I think I'm +4 on the day. So, you know, yeah, just a bit of up and down, I guess, you know.
It's certainly a very up and down day. It's been a very up and down track with participation as we're watching the replay at the start. How has your thought of Formula 3.5 at VIR been? How's your thought on this track and this car?
I don't know. It's a bit mixed, just like the race and just like the nature of the track. It's a lot of fun to drive, and I feel like there are some passing opportunities into turn 1 and down the backstretch, being that they are so long. But both of them are very tough corners to pass into. It's very technical into the first sector and second sector as well, so it's hard to make any moves through there, even though the draft is so strong. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad track for this car at all, but there's probably better ones like Imola or Silverstone or anything like that.
Pretty sure Edward is listening to this and taking notes right now. Thank you, Ben, for your time and putting on an amazing show. Nobody could touch you today, so before we let you go and get ready for next week, anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, big thanks to TQE as always. You know, the car felt good. It was just very difficult conditions today, so it was pretty tough out there. There was a 15 kph delta in the wind, you know, going from 15 or so all the way up to 30, and when you don't have the ability to guess what the car is going to do on entry, it makes it tough. But anything that I did wrong today was purely my fault and nothing with the setup, so always happy to run the sets from there. So
all right, thank you, Ben. You have yourself a good day. We'll see you next week at Silverstone.
Thank you, guys.
And standing by with Alessandro Dalladone with a amazing last lap pass, Theodore Burns.
Absolutely, Theodore. What an amazing drive. Started in 6th place, 2nd place with amazing last lap pass.
Yeah, it was a very intense battle, and I'm really happy I was able to come out on top and saved up my DRS for the end of the race there, and I knew that Benjamin had saved up his as well because the last couple laps were using it every straightaway, but I was just able to get a good enough run out of Oak Tree, and I knew I had to be close, and I think I had a little bit of a straight line speed advantage. I was running a little bit less downforce, and was just able to get past and make it stick and not lock up and be able to bring it home.
Was it planned to be following Benjamin on the last lap? Because obviously with such a long straight and the ability of passing him fairly easy, since you had a very fast car on the straight, was it planned from the beginning, or when you were fighting with him, or just happened naturally?
I was definitely thinking about it, but it kind of happened naturally. I knew that if I had a good enough run with my downforce package and DRS, I could likely at least go into the break zone side by side with him if I was the car in front. But yeah, with 2 to go there, when he went past me, he kind of checked out, and coming up to the white flag, I didn't know if I'd be able to catch up and get back past him. So at that point, it definitely was not in the plan. But I'm really happy that it worked out, and I was able to get the run past him.
Yeah, absolutely an amazing race. No mistakes. Kept the car out of trouble and got a very good second place. Next week we move back to a more regular track for these kind of cars. Silverstone Grand Prix, 21 laps. It's gonna be a completely different experience from here in Virginia, right?
Yeah, it's nice coming to these different tracks every now and then. Like when we come to Virginia, the Barber, some of the American tracks, and they kind of suit this car pretty well. They're a little bit bumpier than some of the European tracks, which this car doesn't like, but it usually makes for some pretty good racing, I think, as we saw today. And it definitely is a big curveball. So going back Silverstone next week, I know the team's going to be pushing hard trying to get back up on top, because there's going to be a lot of points up for grabs next week. I unfortunately won't be able to make it next week. I have to travel for work down to Circuit of the Americas, do some real life engineering. So won't be able to make the race next week, but best of luck to everyone that'll be out there at Silverstone.
Absolutely. And before we let you go, Theodore, anyone you would like to thank?
Yeah, I'd love to thank you guys at Apex for putting on such a great broadcast every week. I'd like to thank all my Downforce Racing teammates pushing for being able to push each other every week, working on setups and just getting faster and trying to haul our team up here to the top of the broadcast race. And I'd like to give a shout out to my teammate Eddie for a great recovery drive coming from, I think it was like dead last on lap 1, all the way back up to P4. That was an amazing drive by him. So thanks to you guys and everyone that makes the 3.5 such a great car to drive.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Theodore. And indeed, Austin, we hear now from Eddie himself talking us through this amazing recovery drive.
If you look at the stat sheets, he started P4 here and he finished P4, but that is not the story of the race. Starting lap 1, turn 1, Ed, you went off the track and you fell to dead last, and then next thing you know, you put on the train shoes and just powered through everybody. How was this race for you, and how's that recovery drive?
The qualifying was poor. I overdrove the heck out of turn 1 and threw away my second lap I was on for a good one. I did a warm-up lap and I was ready to go and made a mistake, so that didn't help. And then at the start, I saw the send from the driver to my right. I think it was Andreas. And I knew that, if you were anywhere on the inside part of the track, you were in trouble. So all through the corner, I was trying to keep my speed up high enough to get away from the incident, which worked, but then I ran out of track. Basically, I had to let off. I had to choose between getting hit in the rear wing or driving off the track and having a clean car and continuing on. So obviously, I drove off the track and just drove as best I could. The strategy wasn't ideal. I had to burn way too many DRSs way too early. But I had a lot of help with some drivers letting me go, not putting up any massively stupid blocks or anything. So I appreciate that. And I got my head down, and I was gaining on the guys in second and third until I started using DRS up the main straightaway, and it just equalized the lap times, and that was it. So I tried. That's all you can do,
Well, hey, you did the best you could. It's a top 5 recovery, almost a podium. A few more laps there, and I'm pretty sure some of the tires would have exploded. So thank goodness that didn't happen in this very hot track. But next week is Silverstone. How are you preparing for that track? And are we expected to go over 5K SOF again?
I don't know what the future holds. Silverstone's really popular, especially in this car. We should maybe see 4 splits, I would think. This week we didn't see a lot of our new familiar faces, so I'm sure they'll be back. I might be stretching this, but I'm guessing they're probably practicing for Silverstone instead of driving here. Maybe, or are they just doing the 24-hour? Who knows? But I think we should definitely be in the 4K SOF region.
All right, we hit 4K here today. So, Eddie, before we let you go, anyone you want to thank?
I'd like to thank DFR guys. They drove great today. Good. Thank Tom Wedgwood for not putting up a fight, letting me pass early. That saved me a massive amount of time. I think that's about it. You know, the tires for not popping and exploding and giving me 3 out of 4 wheels. So they did good.
And I'm pretty sure the fuel for getting you to the end of the race and not being a lap short like in a certain FIA race earlier today.
Yeah. Yeah, that always helps, you know, or at least if you are gonna, you know, come up short, you gotta know to save. It's when the combination with 2 laps to go, you realize you don't have enough, and then you're like, oh.
All right. Thank you, Eddie. And thank you, everybody, for joining us here on Apex Racing TV for the Formula 3.5 Championship here at VIR. Next week, we're going to be at Silverstone. I've been joined by Alessandro Dalladone with Marco Barbonari in the production booth, and I'm Austin Knight, and I hope y'all have a good night.